And
Thank you for calling.
We're going to go to, let's see, we're going to go to Michael in Austria. You've been...
Yeah, hello.
Hi, you've
Hi,
been
Michael.
Debating with theists, huh? And having some mixed results?
Yes, you could say that. The thing is, I often get stuck in the conversation because when I present my argument or I ask questions, the problem I get to very often is that my conversation partner says that they cannot spot a flaw or mistake in my argument, but they cannot really push themselves to agree with me.
Yeah, that happened to me a lot.
And can you give me some advice how to avoid that? Or
I would say that in conversations like that, you shouldn't be expecting to deconvert anybody. People, this is sort of part of their identity, part of the way they think about themselves and the way they view the world, and you can't just sort of pull that out. I think your goal might be to sow some seeds of doubt, to get them to question, and to make yourself possibly as a visible person who doesn't believe and who is doing well and a decent and good person as a potential role model for them, or at least to dispel some misconceptions that maybe atheists are evil people. But as far as pushing them over the edge, that's expecting an awfully lot, and we haven't found that to be too easy to do.
So I saw your note earlier when I came in, and it's cut off, so Dan can't see it, or Don can't see it, but it said that you've heard of street epistemology, right?
Yes.
So your question was when debating with theists something, and then something about street epistemology. And I was like, oh, okay. So do you realize that debate has nothing to do with street epistemology, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So which technique are you using?
I might add that mostly I'm talking about this kind of stuff with my girlfriend and her friends because she's a believer.
Yeah.
And I am not for half of my life now. And the problems come in when we're talking about baptizing our future child or marriage or something like that. And I find it really hard to sorry, English is not my first language. I cannot really agree to the religious rituals and convictions, which I would have to agree if we want to marry.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very healthy you're having these conversations.
And I didn't answer a question, right? The thing is, when I ask my girlfriend what would be the benefit of baptizing children or marrying in church and stuff like that, she does not really come up with an answer. And we
might not want to. That's the thing is when
I get to, but I want to know if there's anything I could do to make it easier or to.
So that's the thing is you can't. That's what I struggled with when I deconverted, because I assumed that everybody that I knew cared as much about truth as I did, and they don't. A lot of people only care about getting to heaven or the alternative in a different religion.
Let me expand on that a little bit. I would suggest that you focus on values. And you may value truth more than she does, but there's probably many other values that you ought to talk through. I mean, religion and politics and money tend to be the big things that are problematic in relationships. And I would definitely start with those. Children would be another big one, right? And it seems like you're getting into that.
Well, but that person may not be ready, is the thing, because like we talked about earlier. I don't know if you heard the rest of the show, but it took me 5 or 6 years before I could actually get there. And so some people, you don't know where on their journey this person is that you're talking to and starting to ask them questions. You don't know if they've never met an atheist before. You don't know if they're right on the tip. You don't know where they are. So when they're not answering and they're not thinking about it, they're not ready. Just maybe ask them different questions, maybe wait for a different opportunity to talk about something else. But I mean, you can't make them want to have that conversation. You can't make them give you an answer. That's why we drop calls, is because we can't make people answer us.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
You know?
Yeah, and you may also need to decide how important this issue is to you. This may not be a deal breaker for you. There may be other things that you like about your partner that are more important, and you can compromise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the curious part about this is that often it is more important to marry and baptize children to her than to me. And so she brings up the conversation about getting married, and I say, and there are still things to be discussed. And when it comes to the point when I would like have some answers, she cannot give them because she is kind of stuck. And so I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah. Well,
because
she
clearly suffers from our current state of relationship, and I cannot see how I could help her.
Yeah.
But I cannot lie or pretend to agree with her because that would just make things worse.
Right. It sounds like it may be that her religious traditions or her religious upbringing was important to her, and she wants to give that to her children. Mm-hmm. So it may be that you can try to maybe unpack what is the core issue there. And it may be that you guys could go to a Unitarian Universalist church or something like that is a little bit more friendly to atheistic viewpoints and still have a religious tradition for the children. It may be that there's a compromise there. Or it may be that, she just wants to make sure that the children have proper values, that sort of thing. If it were just baptism, I would say that may or may not be a big issue, but often church and religion, the family gets involved, and there's a bit of a mindset of let's raise the children, let's get them sort of indoctrinated, these sorts of things, or get them hooked up with the religion and all that, and it's very often a big bundle of things, mm-hmm. and not just baptism. So that would be another thing to sort of try to figure out is whether it's just that little issue or whether it's something much bigger, and where does it all go? You also, when you marry into a family, and those family members can exert all sorts of influences. It's not terrible, I think, for a child to be brought up in a family that has mixed beliefs for the parents. Mm-hmm. I think that it's okay for a kid to see that, hey, my mom and dad disagree on certain things and they work it out. I think that's just fine. And it turns out that a lot of kids in those sorts of families end up being atheists because they figure out, well, neither one of the religious beliefs, was one I want. But it can be a way of viscerally showing a kid that they have to make up their own minds on various things, and that's really, I think, what you want in a child is somebody who will think for himself and make good decisions. Mm-hmm. So I've been in a relationship with a religious person, and you know, it's sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you kind of want things to happen differently than they do, and sometimes your patience is well rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with yourself, though. If it's not working.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling, because I don't want to be dishonest to my partner or myself, and it seems to go nowhere. So but thank you. That was I will think about that, and maybe I call in another time.
Please do.
Awesome.
Please do.
Good luck with everything.
we get a fair number of calls like this, and it's hard to give advice sometimes. I wish I had a magic bullet that would solve these problems.
Yeah.
But good luck to you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.